Well, guys, today is a bad day to say the least. It's the end of the day for me to a certain extent. I'm about to start working on the Honda because today was dyno day, and the car did not really dyno. It didn't really make it. I mean, it made it to dyno, but we ran into an issue, and it might have costed me a motor. I'm not gonna put blame on anyone because I don't think it was really anyone's fault. It's just a poor design of a part. But I'll show you guys exactly what happened after we take the car to dyno. So we'll just start this video as if nothing ever happened, and just look how much happier I was. I was so much happier. Anyways, I will see you guys after Drew's bad day. All right, guys, first startup on the K24 Turbo. Let's take a listen. There we go. Obviously, it's not tuned. We have like sort of a base map, but Danny recommended not to drive it, so we actually have the trailer outside ready. But we're gonna let it warm up and then we'll load it up. All right, so I just drove the car up on the trailer. Felt a little sketch, I'm not gonna lie, felt a little sus. Obviously it's not tuned at all, but just felt like it ran really rough. Hoping that's all in the tune. I'm hoping I didn't buy a lemon-ass motor. I have been sitting on that motor for a year. I mean, I bought that motor last year, and it's barely running now. So hopefully nothing messed up while it sat. We didn't film loading it up because it is like pouring rain out. So we're gonna just head down. Angel is still strapping it up. Big shout out to Angel for towing the car. We can't see him right now because of the bush. We're gonna head down to Danny's dyno. We're gonna see what this bad boy makes, and I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't go wrong. We'll knock on wood first. All right, beautiful rainy day. You got a couple things to zip tie, make sure the vacuum lines don't blow off. But other than that, she made it. All right, so we fixed a couple issues. The map sensor was not getting any pressure reading. It looks like the blocks spacer that I had to put, it doesn't have a port for it. So we had to move the map sensor into the actual intake manifold. Makes the most amount of sense. We also zip tied off a lot of stuff. This wasn't supposed to be routed to manifold because if it is with the turbo, it's gonna just, if this valve ever fails and we're under boost, it's just gonna pressurize the crankcase. So yeah, we're gonna either need to do a catch can or just let this vent to atmosphere. Same with the valve cover. We didn't have anything on there, but yeah, we'll just let those vent to atmosphere. Other than that, it's running really good. We just set the fuel pressure, so fuel pressure looks good. We're just doing our little checks, letting some stuff burn off because since we were running it with the map sensor in the wrong spot, we kind of flooded it, and it was running really, really rich. That's why earlier you probably saw all the smoke coming out. It was running really, really rich. So now, as you can see, it sounds real healthy, and yeah, we'll be on dyno here pretty soon. So Danny got it strapped to the dyno, and we're actually seeing a minor issue. The oil light came on. Now we do have a Type S pump, so we have an upgraded oil pump, and for some reason the oil light still came on. So there could be a couple things. We could have a bad sensor, unlikely, but still a possibility. We could have a shitty sandwich adapter that might be restricting some sort of flow, might be a possibility. We could have a pretty messed up oil filter because I did pop it off to reseal my sandwich adapter and it got a little dented. I brought a new one, so I mean we'll just swap it out. Or it could be something with the actual oil pickup or something. I mean, we're just trying to brainstorm here. What we're gonna do is we're actually gonna pop off the feed of the turbo and just turn on the car for a second and see if oil shoots out. If oil's shooting out and it looks like it's pressurized, then we have pressure. And it only happened on the initial startup and when he was revving it out while trying to set it up or whatever. So it's not like a consistent issue. You know, if it's a mechanical issue, one would think it would be consistent. It's not going to magically just start braking and then start working again. That's not how mechanical stuff works. So we don't know, but I'm waiting for him to come back. We let the car cool. It's nice and, yeah, it's still a little warm, but it's not too bad. It's nice and cool. Let it cool off a little bit more and we'll play with it. Welcome back. I hope you guys enjoyed your stay. Here we go. Here's the motor, okay? And it's not seized, so it is still salvageable. I might be able to sell the bottom end. I don't think the head is good anymore. Just an estimate, or just a guess. I haven't popped this off yet. We just got it back from Dyno. This is the culprit right here. This is what costed me my motor. Horrible design. Most sandwich plate adapters, look at this really quick. Okay, horrible design. Any other sandwich plate adapter I've ever used looks like this. It has multiple little ports. It's pretty much straight through. It allows oil to go in through the middle, and it allows it, or my bad, oil to enter through the edges, and then it allows it to come out of the middle. That's usually how it works. If you look at an oil filter, which I may or may not have anymore. Oh no, it's on the engine actually. Let me pull it off. If you look at an oil filter, those holes, the little ones, that's where your oil flows in from. There's a one-way kind of valve. It's not really a valve, but there's a seal that allows it to only flow in through this way. It will not allow it to backflow. And then it exits through the big hole in the middle. That's how oil filters work. There is nowhere for it to backflow. It is not possible. The only way this oil filter will work, or my bad, sandwich plate adapter, is if you run a cooler or you loop these two hoses, which makes absolutely no sense. It seems very illogical. I don't like this design at all. In my opinion, very poor design. So in the parts defense, I don't think it's a poor design. I think it makes sense for its design. Actually, I'm just not familiar with it, so I'm not going to keep blaming the part. In my opinion, I should have looked at it a little bit closer and saw that there was no valley. I didn't look at it all that close. I saw holes inside the little valleys on it, and I just assumed, and you should never assume when it comes to stuff like that. So it's my fault. It's not the piece's fault, because it does make sense. You can't have an oil cooler on a plate that doesn't look like that, if that makes sense. Like, it has to flow in one way and flow out the other way, or else the oil cooler will get flowed from both directions, and that doesn't make sense. So I'm actually really curious which one I have on my Mustang, because I have one on my Mustang, but the shop installed it and it has an oil cooler. So I would imagine it is this style right here. So yeah, it's just one of those things. I should have paid a little bit more attention to it. Womp womp. What am I going to do? I've never ran an oil filter sandwich adapter plate of this style, so I don't know if this is a common style, and if it is, I'm just an idiot. But I've never seen it ran like that. I've never seen this before. Everyone I've seen in the past is just this, and this makes the most amount of sense to me. But yeah, that's, I think, what caused this to fail. So pretty much we got to Dyno. We got it set up. We fixed a couple little gremlins here and there. The PCV port needs a catch can. Right now it's just venting to atmosphere. That's one thing we got to fix. Not the end of the world, but you know, it's ideal to have a catch can. Same with the valve cover. Ideal to have a catch can. Obviously we don't have that set up, and it wouldn't have stopped anything, and we wouldn't have made less power or anything like that, but it's just an ideal setup. But we got a couple of the vacuum lines zip tied and checked everything, and everything looked good. Everything looked fine. And then we started the car, and Danny noticed that the oil pressure light was kind of, you know, flickering on and off frequently. It wasn't like a constant on, and it wasn't like a constant off. It was like randomly. So we're thinking, okay, maybe it's the sensor. So what we did was we popped off the oil feed and turned it on just for a split second, and it just shot out oil, which was a good sign. We're like, cool, we have oil pressure. We don't know why the sensor or the gauge is going crazy, but we clearly have oil pressure. Well, you can see we had oil pressure coming through there because this is on the feed side. If I would have flipped this and chose this side to use, we would not have had oil pressure through the turbo. So we would have destroyed the turbo. Now, that being said, the turbo could still very well be destroyed because we ran dirty oil through it, but we can probably clean it out. We didn't run it for super long or anything, but again, could be a destroyed turbo as well. I made a couple phone calls. I asked a couple Honda buddies, and they're like, yeah, bro, it could be a sensor. You know, just see what happens. So Danny started doing a couple little test pulls, which is one of the ones I recorded. He didn't rev it out all the way. We didn't go all the way to 8,000 like we could. He only went to about 6,000, but still the oil light was coming on. So of course that raises concerns. He goes and tries to add some timing to the cam, and he can't add any more than 6 degrees because there's not any oil really getting up there. Only a little bit. I think the most he got was 9 degrees. And we can go up to 50 or something like that. So there was obviously an issue of some sort. So we decided to cut open the oil filter. And we cut open the oil filter, and that's when we saw the forbidden glitter that you should not see in an oil filter. So yeah, we decided to call it quits. That was that. The damage has been done. So I'm gonna really quickly pop off the valve cover and take off a cam cap and just look at the damage. And that will let me know if we just need to rebuild the bottom end or rebuild the top. Realistically, if you're just asking me, I'm probably just gonna go out tomorrow and just buy a new K24 and then just slap it in, like over the course of the next couple days, just go to fucking town on it. And yeah, then we'll be good to go and just go back to dyno. Because I don't think it's worth sending a $900 block and head out to go get rebuilt and spend a, you know, probably $900 when I can just go get a new to me one. You know, it'll be new to me. It'll be good enough. So yeah, let me pop off that valve cover and let's see what gremlins hide underneath. All right, so it's the next day. It's bright and early. If I look nasty, I'm sorry. I pulled off the valve cover and I pulled off a cam cap and it didn't look scored. I was expecting it to look destroyed. I mean, he revved up the car to 6,000 RPM with probably low oil pressure. There was plenty of oil. I mean, I could pop this off really quick. I don't know if it would have drained down by now, but if I pop this off gently with one hand, okay, let me use two. So if we look, there's oil in there. Everything looks fine. Everything's lubricated. Nothing is scored really bad. I popped off this cam cap. I already put it back on, and it looked fine. Like it didn't have any grooves. I'll throw in some photos. It looked fine. So what my buddies are saying to do is pull the motor, and then we're gonna open it up and see exactly how damaged it is. But one of them has a spare K24, so we might just transfer my valve springs and retainers and inspect my oil pump, clean it out, and or he has a brand new Type S oil pump that we could toss in. So long story short though, I gotta pull this motor, and I'm not necessarily looking forward to it, but it's not that bad. I don't really have to go under the car for anything except for the exhaust. It's not like we have a drive shaft. So yeah, I'm just gonna start stripping her apart. I'm not gonna film the whole process because this will be my third or fourth time pulling the motor on the car. So you guys have seen me do it before. I'm just gonna bust my ass and get it done because I want to go to dyno maybe this week. Probably not gonna happen, but I want it to happen. I want it to happen. So yeah, next time you guys see this, it should be stripped apart a lot. I'll give you guys updates as we go. All right, so it's been a couple hours and the motor is pretty much ready to be pulled. I just need to drain the trans fluid and pop out the axles. Then we're good. I have the downpipe off. I'll take it out with the turbo manifold on, the harness, the shifter linkage, all that out of the way. Coolant's drained. I just had water in there luckily, so it wasn't a big deal. Yeah, just motor mounts and the axles. I realize I gotta put the car on the floor to do the axles. Shit! Alright, I gotta break those loose. And yeah, we'll be good though. But not so bad. Hondas are pretty easy. If I had the new motor here right now, I mean, I could probably have this thing literally running today. But I don't have it here, so let's continue. And here we go. Like 3 hours. Took 3 hours to pull the motor. Not the end of the world, like I said. I'm gonna take it to my buddy who has a spare K24. I didn't drain it of oil. I'm gonna let him drain it. That way he can inspect it and see exactly how bad it is. With what I found up top, again, might not be the end of this motor. We might just take my head and use the bottom end of his, or whatever he recommends we're gonna do. But yeah, I'm gonna let him go through it. I'm just gonna pull it out, put it on a spare tire, and then later tonight I'll take it over there. But yeah, 3 hours, easy peasy. Not bad at all. And just like that, in about 3 hours, completely out. So I left the oil in there. However, I could show you guys the old oil. This is the filter we cut up there, and we didn't use an angle grinder. We used an actual oil cutting tool, or oil filter cutting tool. If we look, let me get into the light somehow. It's hard. Oh, of course, the camera's not going to be able to capture it. I'll throw in photos, but it's shiny in there. Where is the light? So yeah, I know the last time I said, oh, we're gonna be back real quick with the Honda. It took a year. This time I'm not bluffing because I need this spot back for the McLaren, and I don't have the room for all of these cars. So I need this car to run so I can store it somewhere and not get it stolen off of the street. So I need it to run. So I'm predicting we'll have a motor in here by the end of the weekend. That's my goal, end of the weekend. Right now it is Wednesday, so or Tuesday. What is today? Today's Tuesday. Today's Tuesday. Maybe by the end of the week then, and maybe dyno again on Monday. We'll see. We'll try to make it work. There's already a base map, which is great, but yeah, we got to get this done ASAP. I'm done for the day. Once it's done raining tonight, I'm going to drop the motor off at my boy's house so he can go through what's in there. I didn't drain the oil yet, so he can inspect that, see how damaged it is, and then we'll either take his old block or we will just re-bearing and all that stuff and go through this motor. I would rather just get his old block. It came out of a running car. We know it's good. I would prefer that, but we'll have to see what they think. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys for today. Shitty video, but I'm showing you guys. I'm dedicated to get this car to run. I was super excited, and I'm not going to let that excitement die out. For the 5 minutes I got to drive it loading onto the trailer, it was really fun. So we're getting this shit running. Hopefully you guys are ready for it. I will finally be ready for it, and hopefully we don't have any more issues. Anyways, subscribe, and until next video, peace.